Right guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of my F1 2019 career mode here today, and this is round number 16 of the season, the Russian Grand Prix. If you guys missed episode 15 at Singapore, you can go watch it by clicking the link in the top right hand corner of your screen. It's been a couple of days since we've done some more crewing on the channel, so if you're going to go watch that, you can watch it by, in the top right corner, clicking on the link and seeing what happened around Marina Bay, because it was a very interesting race and quite surprising in many ways because history was made, if you will. But we are here at Russia, and as you can see, we do have just a minor upgrade on the car for the reliability, more specifically the energy store. And in terms of updates elsewhere, Racing Point are the only real team to really bring major upgrades, along with also McLaren as well, making a big step forward, and Haas as well. But overall, the top three, Racing Point, Williams and Red Bull, looking very close. Red Bull now down to third place, surprisingly, and it's getting very, very close. In terms of practice, though, the car felt pretty good around here, to be honest. I think we won the race here last year, if I'm not mistaken. The car was solid last year. It's solid again this year. It's going pretty well. Having said that, the AI seemed to be a little bit quicker. Not quite sure if that's down to maybe just the improved pace of their cars, and we've improved ours, but it seems like they've just got a bit more pace this year. But we are still looking pretty good. We got a maximum score in everything except for the qualifying performance test, where we got a green score. But other than that, it's still a decent amount of R&D points to put away and hopefully invest very soon. But in terms of our own car at the moment, we do have a a major power upgrade on the way for the next race in Japan, so that will arrive in the next race. But also worth mentioning, guys, I made a mistake going to qualifying. I completely forgot to change my power unit for this session, so we're going to be running, I believe, an ICE of about 70% wear, and also an MGUH with about 68% wear. So we are running some warm components on the car. The turbocharger also, I believe, around 60%, so we are going to be slightly underpowered in this session, and it was my mistake. I got it all wrong, and I forgot to change them into qualifying. I was meant to do it. I ran the used engine in practice, as I always do, but hopefully I'll put that onto the car for the race. But we might be suffering a little bit in this session, possibly with straight line speed traps, and we might not be maximising the pace as much as we'd like in this session. But nonetheless, we moved to Q1, and recently the AI have been very, very fast in Q1, faster than any of the other sessions, so I kind of have to push in Q1 as if it were a Q3 session. So on this lap, it was actually a fantastic lap. I didn't make one mistake. I didn't leave no time on the table, and it was actually my quickest lap of the weekend, surprisingly, and it was such a strong lap, no mistakes at all, and I knew I had to step up because the AI tend to go really fast in Q1 when I simulate time in the session, and we tried our best. We dropped about 4.5 tenths in the first sector, but then through sectors 2 and 3 combined, we dropped about 2 tenths only. So it was only really sector 1 where we lost a lot of time, and that's where all the engine power is, and that's where you could maybe argue we lost a bit due to the power unit. But we ended the lap 7.5 tenths down, but the lap was good enough to get us into Q2. You can see there Giovinazzi just ahead of us in 8th place, but overall a 28.5 from us, a decent lap. Perez with a 27.7 in the Racing Point, a 10.5 clear of the Red Bulls, and overall a pretty decent Q1 as we comfortably moved to Q2. And this was my one and only lap in the session, and the reason being is I wanted to save the engine because I'm not too confident about the engine wear, and also I actually pretty much spectated the whole session, so there was no lap time glitch, and I got a bit too cocky and a bit too confident. So unfortunately for us, this lap is actually slower than the Q1 lap. We'll see about how much in a moment's time, but it's still a decent lap nonetheless, and I'm hoping because there's been no time simulation, I can actually still get into Q3 quite comfortably, even with a slower lap. As you'll see here through sector 1, Gasly setting the pace here. We're 3.5 tenths down, so again we're losing quite a bit of time through that first sector alone, which is where all the engine power is, unfortunately. So we definitely are down a bit there, and something I need to try and correct. And hopefully a fresh power unit combined with the upgrade in the next race for the engine power should give us a massive boost in the Japanese Grand Prix. But in terms of this race, you can see here currently keeping it nice and tidy, really. No mistakes through the second sector. A very well-rounded lap so far as we come up towards the end of the second sector, and we're going to see how much more time we've lost in sector 2, and it's going to be another 3 tenths. So again, we lose a bit more in that second sector, a lot of it being lost on the back straight again. And we're now going through sector 3. This sector is a bit more easy because there's less power relying, and it's more about corners and overall mechanical grip of the car. And Gasly with a 27.9, he actually I simulated time slightly, and he did benefit a little bit from a little bit of a time glitch towards the end. So his sector 3 might be a little bit better than everybody else's, because the Alpha is the fifth quickest car. Yeah, he's gone quicker than everybody else, and you can see there a 28.8. That lap was 3 tenths slower than my Q1 lap, and it was only good enough for P11 at the time. Eventually, we got pushed down to 13th, and yeah, 9/10 off the pace. Disappointing, really. Perez goes quickest with a 27.9, so he goes 2/10 slower than a Q1. And yeah, we just couldn't step up. 28.8, we went 3/10 slower than Q1. The Q1 up would have got us through into Q3, but we just didn't match it. Like I said, I had to push like hell with my first lap, and the second one wasn't bad. It just wasn't as perfect, which is kind of annoying, but ultimately not much more we could have done. But we're now going to move into the race with a fresh power unit, which we're going to put into the car, and we're going to start from 13th, but hopefully we can turn it around and use our fresh engine to try and make something happen in this race. So let's jump into it. It's time for the Russian Grand Prix.
Welcome one and all to the Russian Grand Prix. We're just a stone's throw from the Georgian border here at Sochi as we get ready to begin the race that served up an absolute cracker back in 2015. A last lap collision between Kimi Raikkonen and Valtteri Bottas sparked controversy in that race, so let's hope the racing is just as tight today. Built on the shores of the Black Sea, the Sochi Autodrome is a 3.6-mile tour around some of the venues built for the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. Close barriers may make overtakes more challenging, but with 56% of the lap taken absolutely flat out, we certainly won't be wanting for pure speed. A fitting arena then to do battle at the pinnacle of motorsport. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once again by Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Martinez. No grip penalties, no mitigating circumstances, just a poor qualifying performance and a very disappointing start position for them today.
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Perez, Max Verstappen and Russell, Gasly, Magnussen, Hülkenberg and Antonio Giovinazzi, Sainz, Ricciardo, Martinez and Albon, Kvyat, Hamilton, Lando Norris and Lance Stroll, Grosjean and Kimi Raikkonen finishes off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Right, here we are then on the grid for the Russian Grand Prix, starting quite a way down in 13th place. Not what I expected, and I think that AR's definitely stepped up this year. Even though I didn't run the best engine possible, I don't think it would have made as much of a difference as it would have. Either way, we're not really doing that well. We need to try and respond here today. So hopefully the race pace is on point. We are going to go for the best strategy around here, which is the mediums onto the softs and try and have a strong second half of the race. Fuel-wise, we're running the lowest possible fuel, and even then we're still 1.3 laps over. No chance of rain whatsoever today. Sunny skies all the way through. So the target is simple. I want to try and go for the win. Whether we achieve it or not is another story, but I want to at least get a podium as a minimum requirement to try and limit the damage in the championship. So let's jump into it and let's see how we get on here for round number 16 for the Russian Grand Prix, and let's get racing. Right, here we go. Let's try and get a good start as we get ready for the 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go. Not a bad start at all there. We get away quite well, and we get on the inside of turn 1, which is where we want to be. Looks like Albon's trying to go to the outside, also on the medium tyres as we go towards turn 2. Quite late on the brakes down the inside of Daniel Ricciardo. In the Alfa Romeo, we're going to just try and get the power down. As we go through turn 3 though, Ricciardo's got the inside, which is the better line to have. Side by side here, we're still very close. Down the inside of my own teammate, into turn 4. Giovinazzi there, let's try and get him. Side by side with the other Williams. We're going to hold the inside line though. And there we go, take the position up to 11th place. Good start from us as we make up a few places off the start, but we're going to be on the back foot. This medium tyre isn't the best tyre, and the others will have the advantage on the softs for a little bit. Important to not drop off too much and try and stay on the pace. We're going to use a lot of our fuel in the RS in this initial part of the race, these first couple of laps, just to make sure we keep pace. Hülkenberg in front though, in the Renault. Let's try and stay with him if we can, using up ARS on the back straight along with our fuel. Giovinazzi lurking, but not close enough. Let's try and maintain pace though. Already these tyres don't feel great, quite slippery and quite icy, not really gripping too much. Hopefully they'll come to temperature. Good news is we've got a Mercedes in P1 of Bottas and Ferraris as well, so the Red Bulls aren't going to get a chance to really pull away. So it could be an exciting race. Giovinazzi's close here. He's gaining on me. He's looking for a move, but we're just blocking him off here and holding the line. He doesn't quite have the momentum. With DRS, he'll definitely have a better chance of getting past, but for now, he has to sit behind me. I'm just trying to hold on at the minute with the medium tyres. The pace isn't great just yet. Just got to try and hang in until the softs start to fade a little bit, around lap 5 or 6. Hulkenberg taking a defensive line here. We're starting to put the pressure on him a bit. We'll let him take the racing line through here, but he's going to be tremendously out of shape. This is happening because everybody in front is battling away, so there's a bit of a train happening. So Hulkenberg is dropping off a bit. We have had a poor exit though, unfortunately for us. I'm going to try and use the slipstream to stay in front of Giovinazzi. Can we possibly put Hulkenberg under some pressure? We're not really close enough. Although Hulkenberg brakes very early, so we are going to have a look down the inside, but it doesn't quite work out. I'm looking on the switchback, but I haven't got the traction down the inside. It's a late move. I think there was some slight contact, but we do get past Hulkenberg. It was a rash overtake from me. Here comes Giovinazzi. We've got to defend the inside. Slightly up against it now. Might have missed out on DRS on signs possibly if I'm not careful. I think I might be out of range. I am out of range, so we might be in trouble here. Giovinazzi's going to get a free run at me with DRS to try and get past. I think we've got just enough though to hold on the straights. Braking late to make sure he doesn't go up the inside, and there we go, we stay in front. Right, up to the top 10. Let's get back within DRS range of Carlos Sainz and try and hunt him down. Got DRS on Sainz here on the back straight. Can we have a look on the brakes? We do get close, but not close enough. Not as close as Hulkenberg. This Ferrari is really causing trouble though. He's going backwards. We've got the switchback on Sainz here. He's boxed in. He's going to go on the outside of Sebastian. There's contact between myself and Sainz again. I'm on the outside line. Can we get the move? Possibly. It's very close. Not much room to work with. I want to try and get a bit of a switchback on Sainz, but we don't quite have the traction yet on these tyres. Through the final corner, Sainz is out of position. This is my chance to get past here. Let's make this count. Here we go. DRS, we're going to go to the left-hand side. Let's try and power past the McLaren. Ricciardo's lurking as well. Got to be careful. Into turn 2. Ricciardo going for the double. There's contact. And I have to go off the track. Do I take that position? I think I will. I was ahead into the corner. So I'm going to stay in front. But now let's try and catch up to Sebastian Vettel and the Ferrari in front of us, if we can. Okay, and now within DRS of the guards in front here. Let's try and close the gap a little bit and try and get past Sebastian Vettel. Also, there's a Mercedes there just up the road getting overtaken, which is also struggling for pace. Ricciardo's got good speed as well behind me. He's keeping up quite nicely. Seems like the Alphas have a strong car around here because Gasly looked pretty good in qualifying. He looked quite handy. But let's try and get past Sebastian then. And make some progress because the front two are Perez and Verstappen, I think. And they're starting to get away. So we need to respond and make some progress now on this tyre. So we can give ourselves a chance on the soft tyre in the final part of the race. So here we go through the final corner then. Another corner cut. This is risky now.
Pretty much burned off our excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down.
I'm on the limit. I'm on my final warning, so it could be a penalty coming our way as we are gaining on Sebastian Vettel here, but not quite enough. Into turn 2. We're going to keep the pressure on him though. We don't get the best bit of traction, unfortunately, out of turn 3. Or turn 2, should I say. These guys are battling so much. They're losing so much time. Can I get past? I'd love to make a move. Around the outside of Sebastian Vettel here. He gives me the squeeze and puts me off the track. And here comes Ricciardo. This is what I don't want. This is what I hate about this game sometimes. Alright. We've lost the place thanks to Sebastian Vettel. They're putting me completely off the track. And there's the penalty.
You've been awarded a time penalty for that last incident.
So that's us with 3 seconds to our name already in this race. Absolute horrible lap so far. Absolute disaster. I'm getting so frustrated in this race because we don't have the engine power to make moves happen. Getting close there to Daniel Ricciardo, almost hit the back of him. But we've lost the place in this lap. Absolutely horrific. Not what we need. And I'm getting held up now.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
Look how much time we lose under acceleration there. We're gaining now though.
Copy.
We'll see about that. Either way, I just don't get close enough for any kind of run into turn 2, so I can't make any overtakes. It's so frustrating. Here goes Ricciardo, looking for a move on Sebastian Vettel. Can we return the favour? We are getting close here. Down the inside of the Alfa Romeo, we're going to squeeze him and get that position back. Thank you very much. But we're just so down on power. You can see even at full engine mode, we can't compete. Therefore, I'm struggling to make the overtakes, especially when we're in a bit of a DRS train like this one. There's not much you can do. And then you have to start taking stupid risks on the braking, which is what I'm going to have to start doing if I want to start making overtakes happen. So here we go. On the back of Sebastian here. Can we have enough on the back straight to maybe get past the Ferrari, which is not a top car anymore? We are gaining here. Can we get past? We're at full maxed out revs. Late on the brakes down the inside. We're going to go for it. I'm going to squeeze him like he squeezed me. And there we go. We get past up to 8th place. I need to make some progress now. We are losing a lot of time through the final corner. I'm pretty much out of rich mix. I've used it all up, but you can see how much we lose to the Alfa Romeo in acceleration at the final corner. I think Bottas might be vulnerable though, as there goes Gasly to the outside. We're going to get a switchback going. We do get the momentum, we time it right, and we're going to get on the inside. Let's see if we can get Gasly as well. That'd be fantastic if I get a 2 for 1. We're gaining on the Alfa here. Not quite close enough though, unfortunately. Gasly stays in front. Another track extension. This is just becoming a horrible race for me now. It really is. It's such a messy race. The car hasn't felt right all weekend. My wheel doesn't feel right, but we move on. Just got to try and get past these guys. I'm losing so much time to the leaders. Nice and late on the brakes there. Let's see if we can get past Pierre Gasly. He doesn't have DRS, so we should be vulnerable. Here we go, we're gaining. Get on the inside line preferably. Gasly goes defensive. Easy move on the brakes. There we go, don't let him go side by side, squeeze him off. Let's see if we can get past George Russell. Maybe get within DRS possibly. But surely the AR might be pitting soon. 11 laps is about right. Looks like the leaders are in, Verstappen and Perez pit. And also Gasly as well. They're going to go for the medium tyres now, so it's important for us to find some pace. Personal best. Let's push on here as we take 4th place in the race. Okay, Russell pits in along with the remaining leaders, so we are going to be out front by ourselves in this race now. So again, important to try and find some pace and pick it up a little bit. We match our personal best, so again, a very strong lap there. I'm going to try and save a bit of fuel while I'm at it as well, if possible. That would be ideal for our strategy. And I might pit on lap 16, even though I agreed to lap 17, I might go a lap earlier, just so I can get to the soft tyres and start to put in some work, because that's, you know, where I want to be ideally. Rather than on the in lap, pretty decent one, all things considered. The pace hasn't been great. In other years I've been able to go long on the mediums and make it a good stint. Either way, we're going to pit in, we're going to go for the soft tyres of course, as we hit the pit entry. Let's get it also down to the 60. It's a very slow pit lane. I think Perez and Verstappen, of course, will obviously pass us, and then it's a question of whereabouts exactly where we will join. It's looking pretty close, to be honest, but I can't quite tell where. I'm just hoping for a good stop from the boys. Hopefully it's sub 1.8, ideally, if not 1.9. That would be perfect. Here we go.
Complete, go now.
There we go, 1.872. That will do the job. Let's turn the engine up, get up to speed here. It's going to be close.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
Right, it's going to be P8 for us, just behind Pierre Gasly, so that battle will continue, but we rejoin in front of Sebastian Vettel and the Mercedes. Right, soft tyres on, and another corner cut there, so that's number 5. I've had an absolutely horrific race so far when it comes to that, just really poor race. One more and it's going to be 6 seconds worth of penalty, so it's very important now we don't pick up another warning or cut, because that's going to ruin my race. So head down and let's just try and push as much as we can in this stint. No objective, just to really maximise the stint. It's as simple as that. Okay, within Pierre Gasly's DRS here, let's try and make a move if we can and get past one of the cars already. Turn the engine up, let's try and dispatch off the Alfa Romeo. We are a little bit far back, but we're now starting to gain a bit on the brakes. Should be a simple move down the inside. Again, squeeze him off, don't let him hang it around the outside if possible. George Russell up next. Let's get after him. Perez set at 32.1. That's going to be a very easy benchmark to beat. And the fastest lap is going to be at least a minimum requirement for us in this race. And so one of the Haas cars pits. That's going to give us another position. So there we go, up to P6 now. Norris pits.
We're not going to be able to run in this engine mode much longer. We're about a lap over target. Drop down to mix 2 soon.
We're going to push in this lap, try and go for the fast lap of the Grand Prix and also pass Russell on the back straight. Let's go for it. Right, here we go then. Behind Russell, we're going to get DRS, of course. We're a little bit further back than we were with Gasly, so I'm not quite sure if this is going to happen here. Yeah, we're a bit too far back, I think. Even with a holy dive for dive bombs, it's not going to happen. But let's get the pressure on him. We might be able to pass him somewhere else. The important thing is that we convert this pace into a fastest lap, so let's keep pushing. To be fair, I don't think I'm going to get held up that much with him, but we are going to get a good exit here. Going to stay close. As long as Russell takes a normal racing line, we should be okay. Magnussen 31.8. That's going to be where we're aiming at as well. There we go, 31.3. That should do the job. And now we're going to get past Russell. Here we go. We're going to get a mega DRS in the slipstream here on the Red Bull, which is going to help us maybe go for a fast lap once again on this lap. So let's try one more time. But there we go, job done. Up to P5 now. Leclerc's next. Let's try and hunt him down. There we go. 1 minute 30.7, even quicker, and a purple final sector. That will do. To be honest, I think we're going to finish here. P5 is going to be where we finish the race. We've got 3 seconds of penalties to our name. It probably will be 6, knowing how I've been driving this race. So it's important that we just focus on getting the gap out to Russell. And obviously we'll catch up to Leclerc as well, but I don't think we're going to finish ahead of him. Maybe on track, but not after the penalties are applied. That's why it's important to pick up the fast up of the Grand Prix, so that we can get the extra point. It's going to be a heavy penalty hit. Okay, we're within Leclerc's DRS. If I'm going to pass him, I've got to make sure it's a clean pass and no time is lost, because we've got to keep the gap to Russell behind us. Currently stands at 5 seconds, which is more than enough to protect us from the penalty.
There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
So let's try and cook up this overtake on Leclerc, possibly on the back straight. Here we go then, we're tucked in nicely. We should be more than within range to make this overtake stick. I think Leclerc isn't running a particularly high engine mode anyway, so here we go, we're going to make the move. We're going to switch to the left-hand side this time. Leclerc trying to hang in there, but we're going to go around the outside. Fantastic overtake on the Ferrari. So we've got 3 laps, I've got 1 lap to try and pull away 3 seconds. Probably not going to happen, but we're going to give it a go and try and pull away from him if we can. Final sector here, I'm pushing, I'm giving it everything. Gap to Leclerc 1.5. It's probably not going to happen, but like I said, we're not going to give up. We're going to keep pushing to the finish. At least Perez wins, though. That's good news for us. It means Verstappen doesn't get 25 points. So damage limitation for the championship. Final corner. Up to the line. Let's push. Bit of lag going on, but we are going to cross the line and get P5, I think, in this race.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
And an incredible win for Racing Point. A brilliant performance. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
The Racing Point team will be very happy with today's performance and the final result. Another display of excellent driving and excellent teamwork, and a well-deserved first-place finish.
You were cutting your way through the field during the race. So talk us through what happened between you and your rival today. Great. Well, that's everything.
Right, so here we have the final race results, and Perez wins here today at the Russian Grand Prix for Racing Point. It's been a while, but they're finally back on top, and they score a race win, with Verstappen in second, splitting the Racing Points as Magnussen gets third and makes it a 1-3 for the Pink Panthers. Charles Leclerc P4, he managed to get back in front of us due to the penalty that we had. Luckily for us, we do score the extra point for the fastest lap, so damage limitation, and we only lose 7 points to Verstappen, which is not bad at all. George Russell P6, Pierre Gasly in 7th there, Hulkenberg in 8th ahead of Sainz and Bottas, rounding out the top 10, with then Sebastian Vettel missing out on the points, along with Alexander Albon, Daniel Ricciardo, Danny Kvyat, Lando Norris, Kimi Raikkonen, Lance Stroll, and Antonio Giovinazzi only in 18th place, a poor race for him, and then Hamilton and Grosjean rounding out the top 20 with no retirements in the race here today. In terms of what that means though for the standings, first of all, the drivers, you can see that we're still 45 points ahead of Max Verstappen. If I could push that just back above 50, I'd be really happy, because it means we could win the title with 2 races to spare, but no changes in the top 14 of the Drivers' Championship. And in terms of the Constructors, Racing Point overtake us for 2nd place, and we drift away a little bit from Red Bull there. Poor race for us in the Constructors' Championship, with Giovinazzi not scoring any points, and we're now 24 points adrift of Red Bull, 7 behind Racing Point, but the top 3 is all still to play for. But guys, that is going to be it for the episode here today in career mode, and we've got a major engine upgrade on the way for the next race, so we're going to wait and see how that performs in the next one in Japan. But if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, and also get subscribed if you are new for daily Formula 1 content, and also turn on notifications to not miss any videos from me, and also finally check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next episode very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.